I wanted to make this video outside in the sun, but as you can see, it's raining. So, I am actually heading to Miami, driving 4 hours to go see my original father. And I want to go ahead and have a quick story time before I get back on the road. I think I still have like an hour and a half left. So, growing up, there was a person in my life who I thought was my father. That's what my mom told me. And we only saw him, my siblings and I, probably about 7 times throughout our life, in the younger years. And he was always just kind of very self-absorbed and very just to himself. He just smoked and drank, and that was pretty much all I knew of him. That was the image that I remembered of him. The memory, I mean. So, my mom being the person that she was, I didn't really feel like I was missing anything because of how strong she was. She was just extremely matriarchal figure in my life. So I didn't really feel like I needed a father. Fast forward to the age of 31. Mind you, I haven't seen the original father in 20 years. But fast forward to the age of 31, I get a Facebook message, and it's my biological father. Now, my mom told me who my father was. That wasn't a mystery. I thought it was the original guy, the one I hadn't seen in 20 years. Turns out this guy who hits me up on Facebook, he's like, is your mother blah, 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 blah? Does she look like this, blah, blah, blah? And I'm like, yeah, sure, but I don't know who you are. And if you're a scam artist, just so you know, I don't have any money. And I just was completely skeptical. Eventually, the more we spoke, the more he was able to prove that he did know my mom pretty well and that I might possibly be his daughter. So we agreed to do a paternity test, verbally at least. Before we actually do it, I decide to call my mom, and I'm like, hey mom, there's this guy on Facebook saying that he's my biological father. And mom's like, that doesn't sound right. I don't know who that is. You know, just ignore it. So I was like, okay. And then I call her back. I was like, Mom, are you sure you're not holding anything back from me? Like, there's nothing that you're missing? Do you know who this guy might be? Do you know, is there a possibility that you might not be being honest with me right now? And I want to fast forward. I'm sorry. I want to go back a little bit to my dreams. So my dreams are very, very vivid, and I have a lot of premonition dreams. Before this particular guy reached out to me on Facebook, I had a dream of him probably about 2 years beforehand. And in my dream, I'm floating above Florida, and my guides are telling me that there's something I'm missing in Miami, and it's a father figure. Now, the guy that I hadn't seen in 20 years, the original father, also lives in Miami. So I assumed that my guides meant him, and I'm like, oh, that's, you know, that's nothing new. I already know who that person is. But it was like still this sort of like nagging feeling that I had that I was missing something in Miami. So fast forward to me being on the phone with my mom. I'm like, Mom, this guy says he's my daughter. Are you being honest with me? And my mom goes and says, why is he reaching out to you now? It's kind of like to herself. And I'm like, Mom, that doesn't sound like you are sure. So she finally says, okay, why don't you come over and we'll talk about it. So I go to her house, and we sit down and we talk about it. And my mom is extremely defiant. There's shame, there's guilt, but she never apologizes. And she says, yes, he is your father. So I'm not upset. I'm not angry. I am a little shocked, but I'm also excited because I want to know about him. I want to know, do I have brothers? Do I have sisters? Do I have any aunts and uncles who are still alive? Are my other grandparents still alive? Tell me as much as possible. So, my mom and I stop talking, or we get done with our conversation, and I talk to this biological father on the phone. And he tells me a little about his life. He is very, you could just tell he's very emotional on the phone. And I think he expected me to be emotional as well. But again, I'm just really shocked and excited. And I kind of just want to get to know him. Because at this point in my life, I'm not really like, again, I'm in my 30s. Like, I'm not really too worried about my parents and their mistakes and things like that. I just want to know who this new figure is in my life. I want to know more about him. So anyways, we get to know each other. I'm 33 now, so it's been about 2 years since we've been knowing each other, and he's been extremely helpful. There's a couple of personality traits that I see in myself that I definitely got from him. And recently I got a phone call from my original father, the presumed father. That's what I call him. And he told me that he is not doing well with his health, like he's dying. So first thing I do is I'm able to have some really amazing conversations with him. He's able to fill in some gaps with me, or for me, of my childhood that I didn't really remember because I was a baby. And I'm grateful for that. But I'm actually heading to Miami now to go see him, because both fathers live in Miami. And I'm gonna go ahead, and this might be the last time I'm gonna see him, but I'm gonna go ahead and have another conversation with him and have him fill in some more gaps. Like, why did my mom leave Miami? Why didn't she tell my original father where she was going? I'm sorry, my biological father where she's going. And just, I have a lot of questions, and I want him to kind of fill in some more gaps for me before he does pass away. And I also want to let him know that, and I want him to know that I'm not angry with him, and that all of this stuff happens on purpose. Like, I'm an extremely strong person. I am, you know, I'm an extremely strong person. I was raised by my mom. She did a great job. Yes, there's some things that I would have done differently, but all in all, she was an amazing person, and I'm grateful to have her in my life. And if she wasn't there, then maybe I would have had a really bad childhood. But you know, she was my mother and my father.
Take me home, take me on a ride. I got a good feeling about the colors lighting up your eyes. Take me home, take me to the sky. I got a good feeling. Tell me the only thing you are is mine.
Now this guy orders 24 oysters from Hooters. When he said that he wanted to go to his favorite restaurant, I had no idea it would be Hooters. I would rather die before eating oysters there, but I went ahead and got some tacos anyway, and we had a good time.
All right, so I met with my dad, and we had a really good conversation. And I want to start by saying that I didn't drive 4 hours to Miami to see my father, to grill him about my childhood. It was more of closure for me, get a little bit of questions answered that my mom unfortunately can't really fill in for me right now because she's passed away. And this was amazing for me. Sorry, this kid's in the background playing. This was an amazing moment for me, because I'm grateful that he was open to speak about some things that were really uncomfortable for him. The bottom line is, we all make choices in our life, right? And these choices have consequences. And we have to live with the choices that we make. I'm not angry with him for not being there to help my mom, to help my siblings when we were dealing with financial struggles and things like that. I'm not angry with him. I think that I want him to be happy, especially now that he's having so many health issues. And again, this is closure for me. So when I get home, I'm gonna journal, I'm gonna reflect, I'm gonna speak to my guides, I'm gonna speak to my mom, and I'm gonna go ahead and move on with my life. So thank you again for watching this. And if you are in similar situations with your parents or your family, just remember that this is your healing journey. Don't be afraid to ask the hard questions. Try not to place blame if possible, and just listen. And it helps me to know that I don't have all the answers, and no one really has all the answers. We're simply just living our life the best way that we can. So thank you again for watching. If you want to see some more videos, a little bit less serious stuff, go ahead and let me know in the comments if you like this video and if you have a similar situation with your family.